Cabinet has approved the economic strategy for Wiltshire and Swindon. It now needs to go to Swindon Council to also hopefully approve it. This is a document that comes out of the old local economic partnership. We're required to have an economic strategy. I have to be honest, I think there's probably a holding strategy. I suspect devolution and the powers that end up going to strategic mayoral authorities and to mayors will mean that we will increasingly see the skills agenda and the economic strategy agenda being concentrated at the mayoral level. But for now, we've got a revised strategy. I think it's clearer than the previous iterations. It's looking in the same way geographically at the M4 corridor, down the A350, and then a sort of a 303-36 corridor as well. So if you're interested, please have a look. It outlines the broad terms, the broad issues, the broad strengths, the broad areas for opportunity. There will be a lot more detail that I suspect will be fleshed out over coming months as government continues to release its updated industrial strategy and economic strategy as well. We've agreed an updated version of our climate delivery plan. This is a really important document, not from an ideological point of view, but from an actual delivery, from a decarbonisation point of view. The approach Wiltshire Council takes when it comes to decarbonisation is an evidence-led one driven by economic benefit. So as a council, we have invested significantly in LED streetlights, in decarbonising our buildings, and as a result, not only are we paying back all the money that we've borrowed to do that, but we're now looking at about a £3 million a year saving to the council, to taxpayers, as a result of that work. And that's exactly the same approach that we want to be taking across wider Wiltshire. But again, there's an awful lot of detail in the strategy. But if you look at elements, so for example, the Solar Together scheme, we've run 2 years of that now. We've seen 1,400 houses with solar panels on their roofs, many with batteries now installed. Not only is that going to save those residents money over the course of 7 or 8 years, but it also depends on what you have installed, but it's also then reducing carbon emissions. When this is done properly, this isn't about the binary politics of costs and so on. This can be a way of improving the environment, improving quality of life, and saving money at the same time. Okay, I'm really happy that we're now in a position where we have got a bidder identified and an agreement from Cabinet to proceed with a new operator for City Hall in Salisbury. Now, for those of us who live in and around Salisbury, City Hall has played an interesting role in our lives. I can recall watching the Wurzels there, Seth Lakeman, perhaps slightly less enjoying the Chuckle Brothers with the kids. I don't know what was wrong with me that day, but City Hall, we sadly had to close when COVID hit. There was no way we could keep it open. And it soon became a vaccination centre. Many of us, I certainly had my first vaccine jab there. So many of us went through it when it was a vaccination centre. That stopped in mid-22, at which point I've been really clear that we were going to reopen City Hall as a live entertainment venue in a sustainable way, so a long-term way in Salisbury. Delighted that, and we can't go into details of who yet, but delighted that we've now identified and can now finalise details with a provider who is able to do that. Historically, the building always required a degree of subsidy from both Salisbury District Council and then Wiltshire Council. We should now see it open in a way where no subsidy is required, where it is open for people to enjoy, to go in and enjoy those more popular events, populist events even, in City Hall. And it is really good news that we've got to this point. The work of officers has been exemplary over it. I'm delighted to be in this position now.